Good morning. This is your girl Jasmine D. Felder, and welcome to the Brand of Jasmine D podcast, where we discuss the modern day woman, her lifestyle, career, parenting, dating, relationships, alignment with God, purpose, and so much more. I wanted to first off come on and thank you all so much for supporting the Brand of Jasmine D and the Brand of Jasmine D podcast. As I have explained so many times before, the Brand of Jasmine D is an entity within itself, but then I have like subcategories or smaller, not smaller, but just branched off versions. And the first one is the Brand of Jasmine D podcast. As I looked at my stats and my analytics the other day, I saw that I have over 300 downloads, and that means so much to me because I believe I aired my first episode or my intro episode around the first week and a half of November 2022. And here we are just entering February of 2023, and I have over 300 downloads spread across multiple podcast platforms. And I am just so truly thankful and in awe. But I want to thank you all so much for your support. Whether you're a new listener and this is your first time listening, whether you've been listening for a few episodes now, or whether you're a day one listener, I sincerely appreciate your support, your likes, your comments, your shares, your follows, your subscribing, telling a friend to tell a friend, playing this in front of a friend or a family member. I sincerely appreciate it because my sole purpose for creating this podcast was to come on and have real life, everyday conversations. Some of the conversations that I have, I think, are taboo. Sometimes there are topics that aren't often discussed. Sometimes they may be inspirational. Sometimes depending on your spirituality, sometimes it may be a little bit deeper than you want or you understand, but I'm giving you who I am every day. Sometimes I'm up and I'm truly inspired, and honestly, sometimes I'm in a funk. And this is the podcast. This is the platform where I want to come on and be real with you all. I want to come on and give you exactly who I am, because in everyday life, we have our good days, we have our bad days, we have our encouraging days, our days of opportunities. And I want to come on and speak with the modern day woman and say, I get it. It's not always peaches and creams. It's not always easy, but it's not also always hard either. Some days you're going to have to make those challenging decisions. Some days you're going to need a friend to phone a friend. And whether you're in your car and you're listening to this on the way to work or from work, whether you're, listening to this as inspiration in the morning, or whether this is your wind down period in the evening, I just want to come on and tell my sisters, and honestly, even though I say the modern day woman, the modern day man, I don't know what it's like to be a man, FYI. But just even breaking and separating the genders, I want to come on and just have those real life conversations, because when I was going through, it was the encouragement of strangers that really helped push me over those hurdles. It was typing in on YouTube and typing in on a podcast and just researching motivational videos and encouragement and how to increase my faith. It was those topics and those strangers that I was listening to that really showed me you can do it. You can be more than what society has dictated you to be. You can be more than what others say you can be. So I want to give back, because if a stranger helped me, I can turn around and be that same stranger for someone else. And all it takes is one. So I really want to come on and thank you all for your support, because even when I think no one is looking, even when I think no one is listening, when I look, I'm encouraged to know that I have touched at least 300 people. At least 300 people have listened to me, or the podcast has been downloaded 300 times. So that means a lot to me, and I wanted to come on and thank you all for that. So this week has been the start of a self-care week for me. And I wanted to come on and talk to you all today about self-care and the importance of self-care. So within the last year, like I have not been able to really put my all into my self-care. And it within the last few weeks, I've kind of found myself being extremely tired, extremely burnt out. I mean, to the point where I would walk in the house and barely have enough energy to, get my daughter and I ready for bed and get our clothes out for the next day and make sure my lunch is packed and make sure whatever needs to be done is done. If I'm at the computer trying to do homework or I'm trying to do something for work, my eyes would just immediately close. And so I'm telling myself, you need balance, and that's so very important for us. We all need balance. You need balance. You need your me time. You need your time with your friends. You need your time with bae. You have your work time. You need to cut out some time for business. You need to cut out some time for school if you're in school. You need to cut out some self-care time because what happens, and whatever else you deem necessary, but what happens is when you're not making time for yourself, you get burnt out. And I don't just mean your physical appearance, I mean self-care internally as well. One thing that I do every morning, I get up, I pray, and after I get my daughter up, I turn on the TV, I go to YouTube, and I listen to some of my favorite inspirational speakers, which are TD Jakes, Sarah Jake Roberts, and Latoya Okia. Those are like my top three. I love Jamal Bryant as well, listening to some of his sermons. But those are my top three. As soon as you click on my YouTube search bar, you're going to see TD Jakes, Sarah Jakes Roberts, and Latoya Okia. I mean, I interchangeably listen to them. In the morning, I don't talk to anyone on the phone. I'm not sending text messages. I'm not responding to audios because I am an audio girl. You're going to get the true version of how my day is going through audio. If I have to send a text, I'm going to say I'm just okay. But I make sure that I'm disconnected from the world. Because what happens is when you're trying to catch up with those text messages, those audios, you're making phone calls, even if you turn on the radio, you're not pouring into yourself. And when you first wake up, those few moments are so very important because you have to set your day. If you don't set your day, then if you stump your toe, you're cursing and you're pissed off. If someone texts you and you don't like the response, your day is already altered. If you get on social media and you see something has happened, your emotions are all over the place. So it's so very important, definitely to me, to set the tone of my day. That does not mean that things are not going to jump up and pop out and things are not going to try to distract me. But setting my day, I have almost a 80% chance, increased chance to really have an amazing day. I notice that when I'm running behind and I don't get to listen to my videos or I don't get to complete them or, I'm distracted and other things happen, then, I'm easily aggravated. I'm easily baited, because that's a word for me. Don't bait me. My day is easily altered because of everyday life situations. So it's so very important to set your day. And like I said, the disclaimer is it doesn't mean that things are not going to happen. But when you fill your cup and you make sure that, you start your day with a positive mindset, you will find yourself starting to coach yourself like, this too shall pass. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. It's going to be a great day because I claim it's going to be a great day. This is only temporary. You find yourself coaching yourself when you filled your cup. But if you wake up and that cup is empty and you don't pour anything into your internal cup, because we're talking about internalness, then, like I said, you walk out the door and you trip or, you stump your toe, or the craziest thing happens, like for my ladies, you pull the door handle and your nail breaks or you hit your nail, because we know that's a very hurtful thing. If you're like me, just being honest, some colorful language may come out. You're teed off. It's just, the day is already seeming gloomy. So you have to start with filling your internal cup. And so as of late, I've been telling myself, okay, well, it was a period in time where I wasn't able to do the great things for myself that I normally was able to do. Whether it was finances, whether it was just time, didn't have the time, couldn't, because one thing about it, my ladies, we love to get our hair done, our nails done, our pedicures, our lashes, eyebrows, all of these things. Well, if you're like me, I don't have time, honestly, to make an appointment for everything. I may have a limited space. So for me, it was like I had to let a lot of things go. I had to prioritize because, of course, when we talk about setting goals, you have to have tunnel vision. You have to be very strategic. If you want to buy a house, well, you can't be using credit cards, and really quick, definitely, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you a lot of things that I've done by trial and error and a lot of things that I know by research. But just giving, because I have been to real estate school, and also because I definitely have friends and family members who have purchased homes. I know typically when you're trying to purchase a home, it's best, let me use that language, it's best to not rack up a lot of debt and credit. So, depending on what your goals are, if you're trying to save a certain amount by the end of the year, sometimes you have to make hard decisions. I had a speaking engagement a few weeks ago, and I said, well, if you're trying to save, hey, I want to save $10,000 by the end of the year or within 6 months, that's a relatively large goal. So you have to say, well, I can't go out to eat every weekend like I normally would. Or what can I do to offset that spending expense? Either I'm going to get a part-time job, a side hustle, or something that's going to, counteract that. But typically, if you're trying to save, you're trying to make a large purchase, whether that's a new car, a home, you're trying to invest, you're trying to buy a property, you have to say, well, hey, I have to be smart about this. So within the last year, because I was setting goals, because I was starting literally all the way over, and that's okay because I'm a better woman for it, I wasn't able to do everything that I would normally do. So now I'm telling myself, you got to start back pouring into your cup, because my mindset is I work extremely hard and I love what I do. I love teaching. I love educating. I love speaking. I love talking. Well, I don't, but with that being said, I also love to get paid. Just, hey, that's just being real, and that's being honest, and I'm just opening up to you guys. We all work, and it's a blessing to love what you do, but one of the top motivators is that paycheck. So one thing I always tell myself is I don't just work to pay bills. Within that, I need to be able to do some things for myself so that when I see all of those red minuses in the account showing the deduction, I can at least say, well, I was able to do these things for myself. Definitely making sure that I'm taking care of my needs and my daughter's needs and my daughter's wants. But I also need to make sure that I have some things to show for myself. So self-care has been a big thing for me lately. Just making sure that I feel good about myself, not only externally, with the hair, nails, and things like that, or, clothes, shoes, whatever the case may be, but making sure that I'm taking care of my internal mindset, making sure that I'm reading some things that are filling my cup, because you don't want to just be a pretty face on the outside. You want to make sure that you're filling your cup, making sure that you're sharpening your skill, whatever that is, sharpening your mind, keeping your mind sharp, learning something new. I'm always, and I think that's what makes me a great educator, because I love to learn. I'm always trying to figure out how to do something. So, self-care, some things that I'm trying to find out what's best for me is what's the best face regimen for me, or skincare regimen for myself, because I want to get into just really a good routine. That's something for 2023 that I want to do. And I want to do it consistently because one thing about me is I'll start something, but then, I'll get busy and it'll fall by the wayside. So I definitely want to, get better in skincare regimens, keeping my cup filled internally with myself. Because another thing that I find that often happens is, we feel really good when we're talking to family, and we feel really good when we're talking to friends, and we feel really good when our significant others or, that special person in our life are feeding into us. They're calling us, they're texting us, they're spending time with us. But you have to have your cup so full that when they're not there, whether that's voluntarily or involuntarily, or, whether that's your me time, you have to make sure that you're still okay. You have to, and really, you have to make sure that you have me time. Because another thing that I'm realizing is sometimes I'm so busy to where I'm like, what are you doing for yourself? What time are you putting into yourself? What investments are you putting into yourself? Is it all of these withdrawals where everyone is taking? What are you putting into yourself? So self-care is really the big thing right now for me. And I'm sure for many of you, it's something as well. And like I said, it's not just about the physical. We definitely want to make sure we look good, because when you look good, you feel good. And that's just a proven fact. But you want to make sure that you're adding to yourself. You want to make sure that, you're reading, whether that's reading something funny, whether that's reading something knowledgeable, whether that's reading about investing or buying a house or about meditation, whatever the case may be. You want to do something for you. And I think I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and I told you guys, I'm always talking about my friends because, just being honest, that keeps the dialogue going. But we were talking about being able to be comfortable in your ability to be alone. And what I mean by that is, I used to be very heavy in the movies before COVID. Prior to COVID, I would go to a movie by myself. And I had been doing that since high school because I love movies. I love good, interesting movies. And so I had even got comfortable with sometimes going to a restaurant by myself, or, sitting at the bar by myself, or, just sitting at a table by myself. And when you first do it, it might feel a little awkward because most of us are used to going to places like the movies or out to eat by ourselves. But I also have found, whether you're single or in a relationship or married, you have to know how to be comfortable in your ability to be alone, because that's a certain strength, that it develops a certain level of confidence. Because to me, you walk with your head a little bit held higher when I'm here because I desire to be here, not because I'm fearful of anyone leaving. And I'm going to say that again. When you are comfortable enough in your skin and you're comfortable enough in your ability to be alone, you walk with your head held a little bit higher, because no matter the friendship, no matter the relationship, no matter what it is, no matter the ship, quote unquote, the ship, that you are there with that person, in that relationship, in that friendship, because you desire to be, not out of force or not out of fear of being alone. So I'm really just encouraging us today, this year, whatever the case may be, to be very big on your self-care. Ask yourself, what are some things that I want to do for myself externally, the physical, because some of us need to start doing things for ourselves physically, like your clothes, your attire, your hair, your nails, your pedicures, whatever it may be, your lashes, eyebrow, whatever it is that you would like. Some of us, yes, we do need to increase our external self-care. But then also, just as well as you focus on your external self-care, you need to be able to focus on your internal self-care. What are some things that I can do to internally be a better person? What are some things that are going to help me heal past trauma, or help me increase my knowledge so that I can be the career woman or business woman or career person or business person that I want to be? What are some ways that I can sharpen my skills? What are some classes that I can take? What are some investments that I can make? What are some things that are going to make me a well-rounded person? So definitely that. And then also, it's okay to sometimes be okay with being alone. Now, I'm not saying like you need to be single or anything like that. No, I'm saying even in relationships, we all have to be able to learn how to take that me time, take just a little bit of corner, because that's going to help us hear clearly from God. And that's why sometimes some of us are still single, because God knows if he puts us in a relationship right now, we're going to put all of our time and energy in that relationship, and we're never going to give him any me time. We're never going to sit alone for a second. And if you're not sitting alone, you're unable to hear, you're unable to process. Think about the last time that you were on the go and you were moving. Think about the last time that, your life just had so much going on. When could you really hear from God clearly? When could you really think of that business idea? It was only in those moments that I was alone that I was able to think like, wow, this is a good business idea. This is a good business strategy. Wow, you could really do this. Wow, what are some ways that you can start doing this? So you have to learn how to take a moment for yourself to develop and become into your best self. That's one of the ways how you're going to own who you are. And of course, that's my tagline, owning who you are. But definitely, I just wanted to come on today and really just promote self-care. Promote being okay with those quiet moments, being okay with being alone for a second, so that you can really learn who you are. Because ask yourself, if someone comes to you right now and asks, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Not your name, not your age, not your favorite color, not where you're from. Take away those surface level answers and tell me, who are you really? Because I could tell you, my name is Jasmine. I could tell you I'm 30 years old. I could tell you my favorite color is pink. I could tell you I'm originally from Miami, Florida. But does that tell you who I am? No. So when you take away those surface level answers, who are you really? What do you like to do? What are some of your goals? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? What do you desire to be? Who do you desire to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What are some goals that you had that you've accomplished? What are some goals that you're still striving to have? What do you like to do in your alone time? What do you like to do in your off time? That really explains who you are. Knowing your love languages. How do you like people to love you? How do you like people to approach you? How do you like people to treat you? Are you encouraged by the physical gifts? Do you like quality time? Are you a words of affirmation person? Do you like acts of service? Those are the answers that you can only learn through, one, of course, experience, but two, just really taking time to get to know you. So I want us to start focusing on our self-care and learning who we really are beyond just surface level answers and surface level thinking. Again, thank you all so much for supporting the Brand of Jasmine D and the Brand of Jasmine D podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I enjoy the engagement because as you are learning, I'm learning. As I'm talking with you, I'm learning things about myself that I didn't know, 6 months ago, a year ago. So thank you all so much for listening. This is your girl, Jasmine D. Felder. This is the Brand of Jasmine D podcast, and I am signing out.